Texas property taxes are fucking ridiculous. That's it. That's the post. NJ entered the chat. As much as people shit on California real estate prices, the fact the property taxes can't be raised more than 2 a year is a godsend. It just kills me that property tax rates back in Denton, Texas were similar to the rates here in Western NY, but somehow all that fucking money only bought you Denton quality schools and services. And there still seem to be so many fees on top of the taxes. Our property tax last year was about the same as we paid in rent the previous year before we purchased and moved. Let that sink in. There is no free lunch, tears of joy. That's how Texas makes up for having no state income tax. It drives me nuts that I make less than I did in New York but pay more in property taxes in Austin than I paid in state and city income tax plus property taxes when I lived in NYC. Oh, and how's your total tax burden with no state income tax? They absolutely are. It's worse if you're old because other states with income tax don't tax retirement income, so any tax benefit you have living in no income tax Texas is gone. We also need to reconsider the exemptions we have. Kings Ranch probably shouldn't have an AG exemption. A billionaire hoarding tax-exempt land is ridiculous. 60/80 of property taxes fund the school districts and all of those brand new buildings and football stadiums that are being built. Any tax reform needs to address this as well. Yeah, $1,000 a month plus just for taxes that go to the ultra wealthy and businesses. Come to NH and then you can see what it's like in the big leagues in regard to property tax. In fairness to NH, we have no sales or income tax. I have a small modest townhouse. While my property taxes are high, they are manageable because I didn't buy a McMansion. But there ain't no dang OL state income tax, tell ya what. I'm over here in Taxsylvania. The state is gonna get their money from somewhere, is all I can say. Homestead Florida 3 Max hopefully discourages out-of-state investors from owning homes in Texas to rent them out. Same deal here in Montana. Republicans spent the last couple years focused on massive business tax cuts and top 1 tax cuts. While pushing fake culture war bullshit, they were repeatedly warned about the increase in property values and voted down or ignored every measure to address it. You can go fuck yourself if you think Republicans are for the working man. Depends on where in Texas you are. I am in rural Texas, so most of my land is AG exempted. I have no complaints. Illinois has entered the chat. My property taxes on my house in Texas do seem high, but I am still net positive versus income tax when I lived in Cali to the tune of about $8,000. Seems like I am still winning for leaving California. If you buy outside of the big cities such as Houston, DFW, San Antonio or Austin, it's not that bad. Just my experience as an investor. Homes just don't appreciate much though compared to those big cities. I'm glad they passed that $100K homestead. They do offer breaks for disabled and retired people. If you lost a spouse that was killed in action, you don't pay anything. No state income tax. Make sure you vote in November to lower them. Biggest property tax relief bill in Texas history. Will lower it about 30. No income tax though, and cost of living in most other regards is very reasonable. Not ideal, but I'll take it. Lucky my county in Georgia doesn't increase our taxes year over year if you have Homestead Plus Stevens Day exemption, but the millage rate going up can change it. Yep, and Texas made $25 billion last year in taxing the oil companies. The house value is lower, so even if the tax is high, the total dollar amount you pay isn't that high. You guys like everything to be big out there. Protest with the county. It's the American way. Property taxes for a person making under like 6 figures with one home to live in is a fucking joke of a concept anyway. Tax people who go buy tons of houses. Sure. Tax them like 100 for their 4th, 5th, 10th, 25th home. If people want to be greedy, tax away. But people living in their one home and just trying to raise a family? These people should not be taxed at all. We burned ships and destroyed property to protest taxes when we started fighting for this country. Now we're right back where we started. Sounds like someone bought a house they couldn't really afford and just got their increased property tax bill. But no state tax. Lake County Ill has entered the chat. A modest 3-bedroom home built in 2019 in a neighborhood with less than 0.25 acres and my taxes are $14,000 this year. Every home in the neighborhood is between $11,000–18,000 in property taxes. It's insane and sickening. Lol. With no income tax, the money has to come from somewhere. The extra property taxes help pay for the fascism. Fuck Texas.